Good morning, everybody. We're learning the Halacha Liyuna of the Rambam. Ashri Chelkom v'Gadol Schusam forever put this together, and forever was listening and doing this Takon of the Rebbe. The Rambam writes in the beginning of Perek Shvi, Perek Zayin. Perek Shvi's ein oichlin mehen elo kol zman she'ese amin motzi basode. You're not allowed to eat it unless it's still in the field and still readily available for animals. Shenemar, we learn from Psukim, it says, V'le behemtecho v'lachaya shabartzecho tiye kol tvoso lecher. So we learn, says the Rambam, Kol zman shechaya icheles mimin ze min asode, hata oicha mimasher b'bayis. You could leave it at home, the amounts that you take, not for business, but for eating, you could eat. If it's finished and the animal cannot readily find it, you cannot keep it at home. You have a chiyuv biur. V'zehu biur shall pay the shvis. This is the obligation of biur pay the shvis mentioned in the Gemara. This is the obligation that when the time comes and it's not on the trees, you have to take it and be mevayed it. Zog der Rambam Keitzad. If you have dried figs, you can eat it as long as the wet figs are on the field. But if there's no wet figs, you have to take those dried figs and make biur. Then the Rambam says in Halacha Gimel, if you have a lot of fruit, you mechalik it. Mozen, sholish sudis lokolechot ve'echot. You could give everybody food to eat for 3 meals. There's a whole shakavatariya. What does it mean? Why can you give them meals for 3 meals each? And the Mefarshim want to say, it's also in the Mishnah, in Shvi, as we'll soon see. Mefarshim want to say that that's a gedder in biur. By giving them to eat it, and that since they're going to eat it right away on that same day, that's biur. They bring a raya for it. There's a balamor and psochim dav zayin that you're mekayim tashbisu through eating it. Okay. But afterwards, you cannot eat it bein la'anim, bein la'ashirim. No one can eat it, not the poor, not the rich. If it comes at the time of biur, normally the time of biur is bishona hashminis, and there's the kashrus agencies in Eretz Yisrael, and they say when the shasa biur is on the 8th year. So the leftover fruit, the Rambam says, seirif bo'ei shemashlich layom. You have to totally get rid of it. A complete chevas habiur. The David actually agrees to the Rambam. He says that there is a chevas habiur mamish, like biur chometz. But he says that first, there's 2 times. There's once if kolo, the animals in the field around you don't have it, and then you just mevayed it from your house, or you put it in Oitzer Beis Din. But then when no one in the whole Eretz Yehuda has it, you have to have a full chevas habiur. The Ramban in Chumash, Pasha Bahar, takes it up with the Rambam. He says that it's only a mitzvah to be mafkir. You don't have to be mevayidet, just mafkir it. And he brings rayis from Tosefta that it says in the Tosefta that you take it on the porch and you say, Acheinu b'nei Yisrael, whoever wants could get it. And then you bring it back into the house and you could eat it gesund heit. I think someone, half a second, I think someone's coming to see me. And he can't find me, 1 second. I'm sorry, everybody. So he says, he brings from a Tosefta that you say, Acheinu b'nei Yisrael, whoever wants could take it. And you're mafkir it b'fnei shleisha, could even be friends. That's the Chavis Biur. Then you could take it and bring it back and eat it gesund heit. And as there is mashmid aloshen Tosefta, he doesn't know where the Rambam got it from. If you're not mevayed it, then it becomes osir because you didn't do mitzvahs biurei. Verta ganze shaila if you didn't do it b'mezid or b'shegig, could you still be mafkir it after higias man biurei? What's the machlekes here of the Rambam and the Ramban? If there's a real Chavis Biur, or there's only a Cheva to be mafkir. Actually, I spoke to my friends in Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Zef used to be a rabbi here in Sacramento. He moved. And he said that we are mafkirit b'fnei shloisha, before 3 friends. And the reason no one is neig l'das or Rambam is because Reif Peskin Paskin like the Ramban, and if you will be machmir like the Rambam, you'll be aver on Kedushas Peiros Shvis. Because a big point, as we'll soon see later in this year, a big point of Kedushas Peiros Shvis is lo'ochlo v'leila hefset. You have to eat it, you can't ruin it. For example, you cannot use Shemittah wine to make a good sauce for the chicken because you'll throw out the sauce and lo'ochlo v'leila hefset. Omer Achmona. So if you'll be machmir like das Rambam, you'll be aver on Kedushas Peiros Shvis, which is lo'ochlo v'leila hefset. Darf man verstehen, what's the machlekes of the Rambam and the Ramban? We're not going to go into the Ravid. He holds there is a Chavis Biur, but a little later. But what's their machlekes? Fascinatingly enough, their machlekes is a girse in a mishnin shviz. One word makes this whole machlekes of the Rambam and the Ramban. What's the Chavis Biur if you have to actually get rid of it, or you have to just be mafkir it? Steht am Mishnin Shviz, Perik Tes, Mishnah Ches. Misha Yole Peiros Shviz of the Mishnah. And it came, Shas Biur, you could be Mechalik, Mozen, Sholish, Sudis, L'kol Echad Ve'echad. And then he says in the Mishnah, V'anim oichlin acher abira v'lei ashirim, that only the poor could eat fruit. Besides the mozen shalosh sudas l'chol echad ve'echad, or he means here that you could only be mechalekit to aniyim the shalosh sudas. different ways you could learn Pshat in the Mishnah. But not Ashirim, Divid Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosi says, Echod Anim ve'echod Ashirim oichlin achar Biur. That once you do the Biur, everyone could eat it. The Rambam has a different gis in the Mishnah. The Ramban says that Rabbi Yosi says that Anim and Ashirim could all eat it. Ashirim means the owner of the field. Everyone can eat it. Once you were mafkid, you did the choyvas hahefker. You were mafkid, you could eat it. The Rambam has another gisa. He says, Echod Anim ve'echod Ashirim ein oichlin achar Biur. He adds the word ein. And in the beginning of Perek Test, the Rambam Pirush Mishnayos goes in great detail explaining that the Cheves HaBiur is Biur Mamish. Since he passes like Rabbi Yosi, and Rabbi Yosi says, Echod Anim ve'echod Ashirim ein oichlin achar Biur. That's why he says that there's a real Cheves HaBiur. Could be that according to the Rambam, I'm sure this says somewhere, I didn't see it, that according to the Rambam, this is the machlekes of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yehuda learns like the Ramban, that the Cheves HaBiur is hefker. And since the Cheves HaBiur is hefker, that's why aniyim eichel nachar Biur. And aniyim means, like we said, people that are not the Baal HaSodeh. But if the Baal HaSodeh eats the own fruit that he was mafkid, it looks like a shtikul knunya. You're mafkid, then you bring it into the house. But according to the Rambam, Rabbi Yosi argues on the Cheves HaBiur. That's why he holds you have to burn it. No one can eat it. Masha'enkin the Ramban, he learns Pshat and Rabbi Yosi, also learns that Cheves HaBiur is hefker. And nevertheless, the Bailim could also eat it. Like it's nog today in Eretz Yisrael. So both the Rambam and the Ramban pass like Rabbi Yosi. So this what the Meforshim ask on the Rambam. A state at Tisefta that you mafkid it, and you say Acheinu b'nei Yisrael. It's not a kasha on the Rambam because he learns that Tisefta goes according to Rabbi Yehuda. Aber lahalocha paskmin v'Rabbi Yosi. There's a fascinating Repair law. Yeruchim Fischl Perlo was a fascinating guy. He lived in Warsaw. No one knew about him. He had his wife did Parnosa, and he sat and learned for 40 years. And for 40 years, he wrote a sefer explaining the minyan mitzvahs according to Rab Sadia Gaon. The Rebbe brings him a lot of Likutei Sichos, and no one knew about him till he came to Eretz Yisrael. And Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld sat him up in the front of the shul. He said, like I said, the Rebbe is mitzayin to him a lot, always in the Likutei Sichos. So Rabbi Yeruchim Fischl Perlo speaks about this machlekes mitzvah in his sefer. You can find it in Mitzvah Samachalef. He speaks about this machlekes of the Rambam and the Ramban. Whether it's a real Cheves HaBiur or hefker. So he says like this. If you learn that it's hefker, he says, the Ramban says that it's only a mitzvah d'Rabbanon, it's only a smachta. The posik, v'lachaya, v'labehema, asher basod, is only an asmachta. So according to the Ramban, it's for surely not a mitzvah. But Rab Sadia Gaon learns that it's a mitzvah d'Oraisa to be mafkid. Nevertheless, he doesn't count it as a mitzvah. Because if it's only to be mafkid, it's a prat in Shemittah. The whole Shemittah is hefker. So this is, you're going further with the mitzvah Shemitah. It's not a new mitzvah. It's not a new heftzah of the mitzvah. But the Baal Halachas Gedeles learns that it is one of the 613 mitzvahs. Because he learns like the Rambam that there's a chayvus on Biur. That it's a chayvah poshet to be mevayiret like a mevayiret chometz. The Rambam, why doesn't the Rambam learn it's a mitzvah? Zogt Rabbi Yerucham Fischel per law. Because the Rambam writes in the second Shadish, he wrote 14 Sharoshim in the beginning of Sefer HaMitzvahs. And he explained that something that you learn from a posik and you don't learn clearly, it doesn't say clearly in the Torah, can is a mitzvah. So the Baal Halachas Gedela says that it is a mitzvah because he doesn't hold like that shadish of the Rambam. But the Rambam doesn't count it for a mitzvah. But l'cheire, with learning that Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi are arguing in what the gather of Biur is, you can answer a lot of kashas on the Rambam where it's mashma that the chayvus habir is hefker because it goes like Rabbi Yehuda. Just to end with a interesting shaila we had. A shaila that relates to the shir. We had here wine from Shemittah. How do they have wine from Shemittah? It's 2-3 years after Shemittah. And there's a chayvus Biur. But since they give all the wine to an Oitzer Bezdin, giving it to an Oitzer Bezdin, especially according to the Ramban, is Hareo Ki Mevur. Hello, I'm in the middle of a shir. Come, are you here? Okay, 1 second. Just come, I see you. Just walk inside, and the front door is open. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of a shir, a live shir here. So, since you put an Eitzer based in Hareo Ki Mevur, so this, you could eat it years later. So we had this wine. Some people say that we don't rely on the heter of Eitzer based in only the beginning in Eretz Yisrael, just then they relied on heter mechira, on selling the land to Hagoy, and Eitzer based in, we shouldn't do it. Not important. Lepoil, we had this wine. It's Kodesh B'Kedusha Shvius. Part of being Kodesh B'Kedusha Shvius is eating it. Okay. Then the cleaning lady took the wine while it was in the bottle, didn't know that it was wine, and she moved it. So there's a shaila of Yayin Nesach. The Ramah in Hilchas Yayin Nesach says, he says this heter, you can't say to Amoretz, and anyone listening to the shir is not an Amoretz, Baruch Hashem, that if an akum was negei al yedei dover acher shalei bekavone, and she didn't know that it was wine, you could be mated to drink the wine. So the shaila is, should you be machmir in Hilchas Yayin Nesach and throw out the wine? Or should you be machmir in Hilchas Shemitah and drink the wine? And the Psak Halacha L'maisa was to drink the wine b'kedusha shvius, because shvius mekerei b'deiraisa. And especially there's some poskim that say that Shemitah today is bizman hazeh b'deiraisa. Mashenki yayin nesach l'kula alma is b'derabonon. And especially in this case that there's the heter of the Ramah, so they should drink the wine b'kedusha shvius. Just a little bit about this interesting chayvus habiur God bless you all with a wonderful day.